stops.
Hello everybody. Welcome back. What will probably be one last time for Return. The last time I streamed this, I finally completed the entire overall story of the game. They definitely kept the whole storyline ambiguous. They, as any good roguelike which tries to tell a story should, left in a reason for why things continue after the story is done. Overall, I would say I'm quite impressed with Returnal. But I need to do a few last things before I call this game and move on to something else. So I figured I would try to do at least a few of them on stream. And while I'm doing that, kind of gab about my overall thoughts on this game. And how I felt about it, how I felt about the story, all of that fun stuff. And of course, I am currently recording with no one yet on, but that's because this goes up on my YouTube channel as well, and this is as much for everyone who watches on YouTube as it is for everyone who watches on Twitch. But before I do any of the other stuff, I'm going to do it daily, and maybe we'll talk a little bit more about the story in a bit. But what do we got here? My always going off track with a Rockland Lobber. That's a good one. Melee cooldown decrease, chance to break shields with normal weapon fire. I like both of those. Mid-air damage reduction. Unable to repair integrity. Could be interesting. And that kind of sums up a lot of this game. It holds your interest if you're kind of a good fan of roguelikes, if you like shooters. Ooh, Plague Tale. Yeah, it was free on Plus, so I grabbed Plague Tale. But it does a really good job of doing that. It does it through very tight gameplay, a well-told, albeit kind of obscure story, but it definitely holds enough intrigue in its world, its creatures, its lore, that it kind of keeps you wanting to learn more as you play. And that's one of the reasons why you stick with a roguelike if you're gonna pick one up, right? Like sometimes with a game like The Binding of Isaac, for example, or Dead Cells, where there isn't really much of a story, but the world has a lot of character, and the premise of it is definitely of intrigue. That can hold you, but in those instances, it really is the gameplay that keeps you around for the long haul. And with those kind of games, if you're a fan of more like the twin stick shooter, then you'd go for The Binding of Isaac. I personally am much more of a side-scroller person, so for me, The Binding of Isaac, not really all that hot. But Returnal, and I'll get to Returnal in a minute, but Dead Cells, definitely up my alley. one that I have delved into quite a bit. But even that, just with its lack of story, you know, there are a lot of combinations that you can do with the character that keeps it fun. But after a while, you know, you don't have much of a drive to continue, because unless you're really hooked on the gameplay, which is where games like Hades, in my opinion, truly excels, because there you actually have a great story in a roguelike and gameplay that just is a dream to play. And all of that combined with the fact that they keep on throwing tons of extra lore at you when you're done the main story. Like, personally with Hades, off stream, I've now beaten it 30 times, and like the third act is long done, but I'm still finding new stuff. And especially with different builds, kind of learning to appreciate more the strengths and weaknesses of the different aspects of the weapons. You know, that is something that's been keeping me coming back to Hades time and time again, and you know, that shows no signs of slowing down. I actually can't wait to get back to doing it on stream for everyone, because I've improved so much since the last time I streamed Hades, and I can't wait to play that with people. But you know, overall, that's one of the things also that Returnal mirrors in a strength as a roguelike. It has a very intriguing story to keep you kind of fixated on what's going to happen next, and what can you learn, and what is going on with Selene, and what the fuck is up with the astronaut. You know, like, all these great questions. You know, I know the astronaut in particular is something my cohort on the Old School Gaming podcast, Retha Sunstar, has asked about time and time again. And now that I've beaten this game, I finally have an answer for him. And, you know, of course, for anyone who caught the last stream or has beaten it themselves, we all now know that the astronaut is Selene. In kind of completely coming full circle on her own arc. She is the cause of all of her pain. And that pain can be traced back to the mother, because, well, for most of the game, you're led to believe. In fact, unless you miss, like, certain key little things that eagle-eyed gamers might pick up, but are tucked away pretty cleverly, you might not even realize that the astronaut is Selene. You might continue to think that it's the mother, and you know, that's one of those parts that I really got to give Housemarque credit for, like, kind of building that ingenious web of cause and effect, and how, you know, keeping in the theme of cycles, Selene has just kind of repeated the cycle that her mother started with, just trauma and abuse, and continues to live through it through what we now know as the death of her daughter. Because if you do catch enough of it, you learn that the girl in the back seat of the car during the crash sequences is not a little girl Selene. When you turn into a little girl in those few house sequences, not Selene. It's Selene's daughter, Helios, which, as we all know, is the name of her ship. And that's where things really start to get interesting, because in terms of the story, it has pretty much been all but confirmed. Like, this world, Atropos, this astronaut version of Selene, none of it actually exists. This is all a trauma that Selene is living in to shield herself from the fact that she was the cause of her child's death. And, you know, that's why the astronaut portion is also very interesting. But we'll get back to that in a minute, because I know I'm kind of stream of consciousness straying all over the place. So, let me just kill these bastards first here. Hey, sure, I'll take that. It doesn't stop me from moving, so it's much better. Oh, there aren't too many rooms left. Took a lot of damage. But yes. So, basically, as I was kind of already getting to... oh, fuck. I will continue once this thing is dead. Ow. There, it's dead. Whew. Anyway. Yes. Atropos is all kind of in Selene's head. Her mother was apparently a respected astronaut. Selene obviously wanted to follow in her footsteps, but there was an accident that left her mother unable to go into space and confined to a wheelchair. And apparently the mother took a lot of her aggression out on Selene about the fact that she had lost the ability to do what she loved and was now confined. And, you know, it's never really truly confirmed whether or not Selene killed her mom, but given how dark this game actually is, I could be very easily inclined to believe that she did. I mean, there are a couple of scenes that showcase that the mother is in a wheelchair but locked in the basement of the house, at least in the house sequences. And Selene keeps on saying that she can never go down into that basement. Maybe that's because of the guilt of ending her mother's life. Like maybe she pushed her down those stairs in her wheelchair out of grief, or just to make the abuse stop. We don't know. That is a definite unknown in the story, and it's a really dark kind of thing to think about too. Die. It really kind of plays into the insanity that these kind of almost Eldritch style horrors can take. And yeah, I totally went off on a tangent and lost what I was talking about. This is why this is a ramble. But, you know, right. Selene and her mom. That's what we were kind of on about. But, you know, with that, it does feel like Selene did try to follow in her mother's footsteps. However, she was rejected. The rejection letters that you find in the house sequences, and, you know, in a bit of the lore where you see that there's a letter from Astra saying, "Thank you very much for your application, Selene, but we do not feel that you would be fit for space travel and for that duty." And those are real. Selene had yet another layer of grief to grapple with the fact that she could not go into space as an astronaut. And that's one of the reasons why Atropos is her kind of escape mechanism, because it sees her at least having the one success of actually making it to space and being an Astra scout. So, you know, she at least gets that. But, you know, the planet that she's crashed on just kind of mirrors how dark and horrific her mind is, because it is in her mind. And the reason why we are here, trapped in this purgatory, as we know, is because Selene, whether she was feeling depressed and suicidal and drove off that road, or maybe she was tired or drugged, because we do see in the house there's a lot of painkillers around, a lot of pharmaceutical drugs that are being taken, and if you do zoom in on the bottles, they don't say a mom's name. They say that they are prescribed to Selene. And so there are numerous reasons of why she could have driven that car off the road and into the water. And that accident... Ah! Hello, Venture Moose. You have caught me mid-ramble. But yes, I was just kind of going over how the theme of cycles is so prevalent, given that we now know the astronaut is Selene. Selene saw the astronaut after the girl who we know in the backseat was her daughter asked if she heard the white shadow, and that's what led to the car crash that actually ended up drowning Selene's daughter, and Selene was the woman who survived. So, you know, that's kind of where we're at with that. And I guess I don't know if it's how many years later or how soon after the crash it is, but in order to cope with the trauma of everything that she did... Wait a minute. I didn't want to be here. Selene has created Atropos in her mind so she can be that brave and successful explorer who is trying to do her duty and scout uncharted and weird worlds. It's an interesting kind of mix. It really is. Glad I was able to successfully do that, David. But yeah, it's kind of interesting the way that they do hint at it throughout the entire game, because, you know, we see the ship's name is Helios. She keeps on talking to Helios or about Helios as if they're a person, and that's because Helios was the daughter's name. And it actually adds a little bit more weight to whenever you leave this room, because, of course, what does it say when you leave the main room with Helios in it? Helios abandoned. Just like you abandoned your child to drown in the back seat of the car. It really does make it a little bit heavier once you know that, and it's one of the things about kind of environmental and ambiguous storytelling that is one of the things that really kind of draws me towards it, because, you know, you can make your own conclusions in certain ways, and still get a fairly coherent story out of it, or you can follow all the breadcrumbs, put it all together, and just have that aha moment where everything clicks. And, you know, both are satisfying in different ways, but, you know, I love stories where it doesn't hold your hand. A story that asks you to take its hand yourself and understand it on your own. Yes, that was a poor reference to the fact that they use Don't Fear the Reaper very intelligently in this game. And yeah, baby, take my hand. Don't fear the Reaper. It can seem kind of like that. It does have a lot of Metroid feels, like the map. The map, for a start, is totally, like, it feels like Samus. outfit as well is a little bit more Metroidy than the default outfit, because you can't see her face clearly, and it's got the kind of visor setup. And yeah, even certain guns, like the shotgun, really turns into like an arm cannon, which is again reminiscent of Metroid. But you know, there are a lot of places actually. Yes, also the shooty versus stabby. With the shooty, it definitely does feel more like Metroid. But you know, that's, in my opinion, when it comes to Metroid, that's where the similarities end. Like, if we're talking about animation of character and everything, like, I agree with Rethus when he pointed it out, and I know Yongye also pointed it out when he reviewed Returnal when it came out, but the movement of the character, particularly the jetpack, is ripped straight out of Mass Effect Andromeda. There's no way around it. Like, Rethus even put a little kind of clip together of like both this and Mass Effect Andromeda running side by side, and it's eerily similar. And then gameplay wise, it totally deviates from the Metroid formula and even the Metroidvania formula, because, you know, there's no real backtracking involved. When you die, you start at the beginning, but you're not going back and forth through areas in any way. You're just kind of going through. But I guess, you know what? Especially with, like, the Desert Ruins area, like, I can see how some of the level layouts and the art aesthetic can seem fairly Metroid. Also, some of the enemy design, definitely. This game does have a severe lack of Chozo, but that's okay. Chozo were cheesy. And you are a bitch. Die. But yeah, like, I don't know, gameplay-wise, Space Harrier, if you could move around, that's kind of a good example. Dodging is actually a little bit similar to Space Harrier as well. If anyone remembers that, like, age-old Sega arcade / Master System game. We're going kind of way back with that one. I'm dating myself here. And not in the weird sexual fantasy kind of way that narcissists enjoy. But yeah. But no, very much roguelike through and through. And again, as I already said, in my opinion, is a fucking great roguelike, because it does the things that really make someone like me stick with it. Ah, I'm glad you remember Space Harrier. Oh, why thank you, Venture Moose. And I enjoy you in a sexual fantasy kind of way, too. But, yeah, sorry, got caught up with all of these hot, naked images of you, and then I forgot where I was. You have that effect on people. But, yes, I'm totally gay. But yeah, this does, for me, what really would hook me onto a roguelike. It has a very satisfying gameplay loop, a challenge that demands your attention, and a story that is very intriguing. And it even hits the right notes. I think it's kind of funny that, like, the two roguelikes I enjoy most are this and Hades. Because, like, even though, like, gameplay-wise they are totally not similar, they both have a very Greek bent. Hades in a very obvious way. This game in, like, other ways. Like, the fact that through a couple of, like, blink and you'll miss it lores. See you when you get back, Venture Moose. But yeah, through a couple of blink and you'll miss it lores, we know that Selene Vassos Also, if you know anything about nomenclature, Selene Vassos is a Greek American, because Vassos is totally a Greek name. And, like, all of the references you see towards things in this game are towards the Greek gods, the Greek pantheon. Even the daughter slash ship's name of Helios, which, again, beautiful symbolism to name the ship Helios. Because, of course, for anyone who doesn't know Greek mythology, Helios is the god of the sun, whose chariot streaks across the sky in a ball of fire, which is the sun. And when Helios rides from the east to the west, mirroring the sunset to the sundown. So, of course, being on a ship that turns into a ball of fire and goes streaking across the sky until it lands, and calling it Helios in a game that's already steeped in symbolism of Greek mythology is just, you know, it's a really nice touch. And, you know, in a way, the whole cycle of the sins of the mother, sins of parents, all of that is very much emblematic of a Greek tragedy as well. So, you know, it's some very clever symbolism, and also, you know, very clever use of the mythology in the writing. Not just, like, for funny references of Helios, but, like, when they actually put, like, bits of lore that you can read about people rediscovering Greek gods through that one science fiction book in Selene's house, to some of the ship logs. You know, there's... For people who know their Greek mythology, there's a lot of things in this game to make you smile in that regard. And, you know, it's another thing that I'm actually... It adds another layer of depth to what could have actually been a very shallow story. Even though the themes of the story are still very, very potent, because, you know, at the end of the day, what are you dealing with the story of Returnal? You're dealing with a story that is essentially about post-traumatic stress disorder and mental health, and how someone copes with that. So, you know, definitely not a light subject to tackle. Ooh, fractal nail. But, you know, without the extra elements that give it that flavor, like, it could have seemed very bare bones. Like, woman is using escapism in her mind, but her escapism is also a personal hell to relieve herself of the trauma of causing the death of her child. Maybe also the trauma of killing her mother as well. Who knows? Like I said, jury's still out on whether or not Selene killed her mom. It definitely does, in my personal opinion, allude to it. Especially, you know, with the weird dream sequences where you see the monster in the wheelchair that's supposed to represent the mother. The fact that, you know, after the final house sequence, when you wake up in that throne, it's you between two corpses. And neither of the corpses resemble Selene. Selene's in the middle of the two, because there are 3 thrones there in that room. When I get to the house area, I'll point it out. But, yeah. Not the house. I thought the game was going to be nice to my rambling and actually, like, be like, fine, next room's the house. But, ooh, yes. But yeah, like, right up overlooking the house, there are 3 thrones. Selene wakes up in the middle throne, and then the other 2 thrones are occupied by what looks like very well decayed female corpses, both of them, which you know, in my opinion, just kind of throws more fuel on the Selene killed her mother angle as well. And whereas I feel that killing her mother probably had a level of intentionality to it, I'm not sure if killing the daughter did. Because, you know, there's definitely a lot of regret there. Like, the fact that the final thing she does even, like, the difference between her interaction with the mother in the final scene where she pushes the wheelchair over and basically yells at her, and then the fade to black ending after we see the full car crash where Selene gets out, swims towards the surface, and fades to black, and all you hear is a gasp for air, and she yet calls out for her daughter. So that at least tells me that no, if she felt that she could have saved Helios, she would have, but she couldn't. And that there are so many ways that they use the ship to kind of hint at that as well. The more I think about it, it is actually quite brilliant. Ooh, I'll take that. Boop! Oh, right. Need a blade balancer. But yeah, like, even the realization, like, I remember, it was either the second or third house sequence. I think it's the final house sequence of Act 2. When, instead of going into the house, she ends up entering the room from the top, and there's a giant turret there. And she activates it and shoots down Helios and starts explaining how she herself was the cause of the crash. She caused the crash that started all of this in motion. And that really is saying, like, that crash was her fault. Ah, here we are, the house area. So yeah, it's kind of... because you can see the area up there, and you can kind of make out the outline. I know it's probably a little bit blurry on the stream, but if it's not, you can see it right there. There are those 3 kind of stone plinths that are the thrones, and there are 2 corpses, one on either side. I am certain that one corpse symbolizes the mother, one corpse symbolizes the daughter. So, Selene, it's kind of fitting that she killed so many creatures here, because she has been the cause of a lot of death. I don't like this trade-off at all. Let's start with the astronaut. It is very interesting the way that they set this whole game story up, and what they kind of did to keep it intriguing enough. And, you know, to this game's credit, it's an interesting enough game that you will put up with how much it kicks your ass. Bad alien dog that's in my head. No. like, I'm curious just how many people stuck with this game because they just wanted to see, like, what the hell is up with the plot, you know? Like, I can assume that there are more than a few people, because I will admit, like, even me, like, I'm much more of a Hades fan, much more a stabby fan than a shooty fan. Which is one of the reasons why Hades just has me so hooked, and, like, especially over the last couple of streams, and the fact that I did pick up and put this game down, like, to play other games a couple of times. Like, after a while, the high difficulty and just the fact that I'm not the best at shooters kind of got to me, but so I needed to take a couple of breaks here and there, but, you know, I finally got it because, you know, the story is just, it really is that damn intriguing that I just wanted to see what it was all about, what was going to happen. And, you know, I will admit, I'm not at all disappointed. I think that they did a great job with the mystery, and really, like, the fact that I put this game down multiple times and came back to it until I finished everything, and I'm still sitting here happily playing it while rambling into the void, is a good thing. It is one of the reasons why a lot of games being easier these days is a good thing, and that's because, you know, games have actually very much evolved as a story medium, and since they are a lot more mainstream than they were back in the day, you know, these people are putting, like, multi-millions of dollars into effectively not just building these worlds in these games, but telling these stories. So they want you to be able to see the entire story, so they do make them easier. But, you know, then there are games like this, or like Dark Souls, that really demand that level of commitment that few games not within the realm of the old school do anymore. And, you know, again, the fact that, like, I'll be honest, I barely ever come back to a game that I've put down or beaten. I mean, like, I have so many different games to play. Like, I do replay some games every now and then, but it takes a while. Like, I really just kind of go from game to game to game, but I do try to get as much as I can out of each of them. So yeah, the fact that I came back to Returnal 3 times to finish the full 3-act of the story and get it all says a lot about how fucking good this game actually is, in my opinion. I think Mega Man was actually one of those games where it was much better off without the story for multiple reasons, Venture Moose. One, yes, trying to, like, nail down a story for Mega Man while dealing with how difficult those games used to be, or even, like, some of the ones that they've made nowadays. Oh, fuck you! The exact thing I was hoping wouldn't happen happened. It's okay. Took care of it. It was just a dick. I did finish Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3. I never finished Mega Man 1, though, I will admit. Nor did I bother to care enough to finish Mega Man 9 when they made that during, like, the PS3 360 era. But I finished this, and I'm still fucking playing it, because I wanted to talk a little bit about the story. I wanted to drink some cider and shoot some aliens. And I have you here, Mr. Venturemoose. Listen to me ramble. On and on and on and on. At least until you either get tired or pass out. Which both kind of are the same thing now that I think of it. But yeah, I guess in that respect, I can definitely say, like, overall, I think this is a solid game. Like, if I was to give it any kind of a rating on, like, a numbered system, me personally, I prefer 1 to 5 for number systems. This game is a solid 4. Is it Game of the Year material? No. For me, no. And the reason for that actually is kind of wrapped a bit in the monotony, which is, by its very nature, a roguelite, which is kind of funny for me to say, because, like, if you ask me about Hades, I will for sure tell you, no. Hands down, that was the best game I played from 2020 that wasn't a remake. But, you know, that is also just due to, like, the fact that if we're going by, like, roguelikes, like, what does Hades do really that makes it a better roguelike than Returnal? Honestly, much more variety with not weapons per se, but what you can do with those weapons and what you can do with your abilities. Like, there are builds that I am still just figuring out myself. Whereas, like, with Returnal, you know, it really does boil down to, it's a lot of shooting, and the run determines whether or not you're gonna have an easy time of it because of the weapons you find, or if you are going to have a shit time of it. And it's not just with the weapons, it's with the artifacts too. Like, if you have a run, like, where, like, this run, like, at least I've been getting good weapons, but I've gotten, like, next to no, no artifacts. Whereas, like, a super run, ahoy, Mr. Drew! And ahoy, Audio Boy! But yeah, like, with a super run in this game, like, I would have, like, probably 5 or 6 artifacts by now. But the weapon I've got is fucking dope. So dope that I'm not even switching it for that one. But yeah, overall, it's that kind of keeps it a little bit low from being, like, kind of a Game of the Year contender for me. Just that repetition and a little bit of a lack of variety in the fact that the runs, like, what you get on the run almost more than your skill dictates how easy a time you're going to have of it. Also, the length. I admittedly do have a problem with Returnal's length for a like end-to-end run. Like, I've seen speed runs where I think the fastest speed run I've seen, all 6 biomes, was 60 minutes. And that's playing the game, at least for me, in an antithetical way. Because, as everyone, I'm sure, has noticed, I tend to scour the fuck out of each area. I fight every enemy. Usually, more often than not, it causes my death. But, you know, I get all the stuff that I can. And, I will take that switch. In order to properly, like, clear this game in a decent time of, like, an hour, you literally just have to, like, run end to end, just pick up key artifacts, stop, get, like, health upgrades mainly, but avoid all combat that isn't the fucking bosses. And that, I don't know. I just prefer to kill everything. That's just me. Maybe I'm masochistic, or maybe I'm sadist. Maybe I'm both. But, like, and because of that, you know, like, an end-to-end run, or at least an end-to-halfway mark run in Returnal, for me, is gonna take, like, 4, 5 hours. And to do that in a single sitting, I'm not in my 20s anymore. I don't have that kind of time. So, you know, that's why it's even more frustrating, you know, when you're, especially, it's one of the reasons why I put it down on stream a couple of times and went to other games instead, is because, you know, you have a great run, you've been going for 2.5 hours, and then one little thing just fucks you. It can feel a little bit difficult to continue on after that. Whereas with, you know, at least a game like Hades, and I hate to keep on making the Hades comparison, but I'm gonna. With a game like Hades, you know, you can just, you know, end to end, you're looking at 40 minutes a run, maybe? Probably do it in, like, under 40, but under 40 would be, like, definitely speedrun territory. And, you know, if you die, you got a dog you can pet. I'm a fan of that. What is that? Oh, I do not care. You know, I think that's the thing that really helps with not being frustrated in Hades, is I can pet Cerberus. But yeah, like if the game didn't have, if Returnal didn't have such a demanding length, and if there was just a tad more variety in what you could do with weapons and artifacts in terms of build customization, this definitely could have been a Game of the Year contender for me. Like, no question. But it didn't quite hit that mark. That said, you know, still a solid 4 out of 5. I mean, the gunplay is tight. And for people who have kind of slacky aim like me, it's forgiving as well. Like, it knows when to be forgiving, and at the same time, it's really tight. As a fan of, like, real hard games, like, y'all know me, y'all know I love my fucking souls, and this game really speaks to me in that regard, like, with that difficulty, which is, again, one of the reasons why I can come back to it, is because I like a game that is going to kick my ass and force me to learn, like, what I gotta do. I kind of fucking love it. Really. Oh, I missed something back there. Oh, right, because I need the blade balancer, which isn't at the shop. Anyway, I missed 2 things over there, too. But yeah, definitely a solid 4. And, you know, the story definitely was intriguing enough to be another factor of why I wanted to keep coming back and figuring out what the hell was going on. And now that I know what's going on, know what happened, like, I honestly don't feel bad for Selene. I'm still on the fence of whether or not you can call her a good person. I mean, you know, given that my current running theory is, you know, accidentally killed her daughter, sure, but, like, very intentional matricide. Yeah, I don't know if I could call her a good person. And she might deserve the hell that she's created for herself in her own mind to deal with the trauma of, you know, the abuse suffered at her mother's hand, and, well, not so much abuse, really. Like, the game kind of more makes it sound like it was just neglect and, like, making her feel like a failure. Like, nothing physical as far as I know, but, you know, sometimes mental abuse can be 10 times more damaging than any physical abuse, so really it's kind of an unfair assessment to make on my part. But, like, mainly she's here because of the grief of causing the death of her daughter, and I understand why she put herself in this kind of position. And it's just, it's so interesting to me that the world that she creates, like, she's still basically lost, confused, scared, but it's the world where the one thing that one of the few things that she failed at, she was a success in. She made it into Astra. She is this spacefaring badass hero. Kind of like an Ellen Ripley almost. Or a Samus Aran if we're sticking with the Metroid comparisons. Ah! Buddy. Are you about done? Ooh. Ah. Goddamn pools of acid. We need some blotter paper up in this bitch. Overall, it'll do more damage. Damage over time. Oh yeah. It's pretty much what I have to say about Returnal itself and how I feel about it and my own interpretation of the story. So now that that's all out of the way, let's go kill some demons. Oh shit, this is not the gun I thought it was. Oh wait, no it is. It's just got a charge for some reason? What? Oh dear. Why you make me charge? Why you make me charge? It's not cool. Please tell me this is a better gun. Yes. Yes, it is. Fucking charge shots. Bullshit. Cost me my fucking astronaut. Yeah, again, this run, very stingy with the relics. The artifacts. This better be a good one. It kind of is. were supposed to be dead. Oh, that's no good. That's slightly better. Yeah, you didn't like that, did you? No. Sure. Finally, a decent artifact. Want you? No. Oh, sure. Let's make her a bit more Metroidy. The gun arm, actually, no. It's got nothing new I can learn. I prefer my tachyomatic carbine. I just do. Prefer it more if it had leech rounds or rising pitch, or both leech rounds and rising pitch, but can't get everything you want. It's like Mick Jagger said, can't always get what you want. Also, don't fear the Reaper. Mick Jagger didn't say that. There we are. Beautiful. See, in certain games, Venture Moose, if you try sometimes, you might just get what you need. This game, on the other hand, you gotta pray to the fucking RNG gods. It's my one of 3 complaints. And literally, I only have those 3 complaints about this game. A little bit too long for a single run. Shit. No, they were both shit anyway. But yeah, a little bit too long for a single run. Too reliant on RNG for success. For great success, at least. And, yeah, I just... Like, they had great level design variety. They had great creature variety. I would have just loved to have seen a touch more variety in terms of builds and combat. But other than that, like, I highly recommend anyone who has a PS5 picks up Returnal. Like, it's a reason to own the game, definitely. Whether it's a system seller will still kind of depend on your love of sci-fi and your love of roguelikes. Because as far as the shooter goes, it's a damn tight shooter, but damn tight shooters are honestly a dime a dozen. Who are we kidding? Because I know you were saying, Venture Moose, you would probably consider picking up a PS5 just for this game alone. Me personally, I am definitely glad that this game came out, but for me, like, well, who are we fucking kidding? For me, I was sold on this system the second they said Demon Souls. Which I do intend to go back to after my rant about how I basically never go back to a game once I'm done with it and just move on. Demon Souls, like Returnal, eventually gonna break that habit. Yes, you do have to come over and play Ratchet and Clank. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Again, I don't know if I would consider Ratchet and Clank a system seller simply because it brought nothing new to the table. But, you know, what it did, it was refined to the highest polish imaginable. Alright, Frike. I need to remind myself exactly who Frike was in Greek mythology. Maybe a Titan, because all of the bosses seem to be named after Greek Titans. I mean, you've got Ixion, Hyperion, Nemesis, Ophion, I think, was also a Titan. So it would stand to reason that Frike was also a Titan too. I don't know. I have to remind myself. It's been a long time. And again, the fact that all of the aliens have Greek names, like, are names of Greek titans or, like, powerful beings. Another kind of little hint to the fact that this is going on inside her head, given the fact that she is Greek American. I don't think I'm gonna fuck you this time, but we'll see. I'm gonna have to really no-hit this after. So maybe it's shut up and focus time. Nope! Done. Yes, they are usually weird things like Valkyria Chronicles for you. Alright. One final run, I think. Gonna try and go into the Crimson Wastes and see if I can pick up any of the excuse me, any of the cryptoglyphs that I need. Wondering when you were all going to show up. There we go. That was successful. Yay, with no money. Is you gonna be worth coming back for? No. Hey, I'm good at calling things. You have a good night, Mr. Venturemoose. Thank you so much for stopping by and sticking with us through these Returnal streams. And see you in the next one. Although it probably won't be a Returnal stream. I'm thinking I'm gonna try that Stranger in Paradise demo for that Final Fantasy Dark Souls spin-off. Had that sitting on my console for a while, haven't touched it yet. So I wanted to experience it first with y'all. And I've just been fucking playing Returnal instead. So. No. I actually don't like the pylon web. Whoop. That was dumb of me. This is how you tell I'm also getting a little bit on the tired side. So what's in here now? Fuck y'all. Not the worst. Don't need that bullshit in my life. Sure, let's cover in squiggly things. Do you want to find the fabricator first? Sure. There. No fucking. No. These mini bosses in tight corners is just ugh. I don't rightly think I'll be, don't rightly think I'll be making it too far on this run after all. Thank you, RNGesus. Thank you for that. Also my own greed. I could have just gone right to the Crimson Wastes. I already passed the portal. I made the conscious decision to be like, nah, I'm gonna try and kill things. Get money so I could stop here and get stuff. Oh, they have an astronaut. Alright, I will stick around and try and get enough money to get the friggin' astronaut. I already had to deal with one annoying mini-boss. I don't need a fucking sub-boss. You dicks. Still my preferred weapon. Fucking hate those things. Who's next? Almost at my 250 for the astronaut. That guy was a dick. No one told him he could teleport to safety. He just did it like a jackass. There we go. At least we're back up to normal health now. And almost have enough for that astronaut. Whew. That was very close. There we go. Well, we've got the money for the astronaut. Oh, I'm still stuck in here. Okay. little bit of money is what we all like to see. Sure, I'll go for it. Good old fucking shotgun. Ah. I really hate that pool of acid now that I think about it. It has just so subtly fucked me so many times. Not once has it ever asked if I even consent to the fucking that it gives me. The answer is I don't. We want to go there. Alright, let's get the fuck out of here. And there we are. Four in this area. I bugged that item out even if I got the shield down, I wouldn't be able to pick it up. Ah! From behind, you cheap bastard. I'm happy this one has slug shot on it, because that does kind of help it with range, but that's better. I like those. Those are my only two artifacts. The RNG for artifacts on both of these runs has been atrocious. Oh well, continuing on. No. You know what? do I really care much about either of these? No. Okay. Ooh. Thank you, RNGesus. Sure, I'll hold on to this. Go. What's that over there? That's cool. Good. do so like this rock land blobber. Always have. Okay. Back on track. Still could use a lot more help, though. That's neat. Yeah. That worked out. Of course. Whoa! What the? That wasn't nice. Sure. Like, damn, man. Not content to let me just die in peace, I guess. Fuck. Ah, well. At least I got one of the xenoglyph ciphers. Can't say this run was all for nothing anymore. 3 to go. Alright, got some health there. Back in this. Officially back in this. Sure. I still have my astronaut. That's good. Temporarily forgot I still had that. Thought he was going to fuck me for good, and that was it for the run. But nope, nope, nope. Alright, I'm gonna go through the long way because I need to try and find those last 3 glyphs. Hey! That was highly unfortunate. What happens if I drop in here? Okay, good. No! Much better now. If I ever find one of those again that heals me instead of fucking hurts me, it'll be too soon. Seriously. Fuck you! Oh, gladly take that. Keeps me going. In fact, I'll even use it right now. Yep. Yep. Alright, let's get out of here. Ow. Oh. He did not like that. See, maybe if it had full auto. take it because I need to learn the retarget too. And that's a lot of damage. Oh, really? There we go. Nah, I'd rather learn this. Much more damaging gun, too. Oh no. That wasn't too bad. Never seen this room configuration before. Oh, I meant to jump there. Decent amount of damage is all that is keeping me in this game at this point. It's not like that thing can damage me any more than I'm already damaged. Nope. Nope. Really do not care about any of this. Okay.
Newer devices than the ones in the desert. They're orichalcum, not yet tarnished by age.
This keeps me in the game a bit longer. Definitely a leech. That's what I wanted. Not a single spoiled resin has done anything other than damage me this entire area. Alright, that's how that was needing to go. trying to keep me alive a bit more. Got some decent health. Got a leech. What? Oh well. Give me a good artifact. That's all I'm asking for. I'll get the health back or I'll die trying. That worked out rather well. Not in the least bit surprised. If it did more damage. Either of those. Okay. Nah. Nearly done with that retarget, though. That's good. Useless. They tried. Alright, again, we got no glyphs. Goodbye to all. I guess that's it. Been a while since I fought Ixion. you poor bastard. Bye. Goodbye, Ixion. I've actually got all the ones here, so I may as well just kind of rush the boss of this area. At this point, I can definitely just do. That's a slightly different opening. I knew it was a bad idea to go in there. Yep. All right. That is definitely, as they say, that. I've had my ramble. Found one glyph. Had some... Well, second run was half decent. First one was just decent. But that was definitely a lot of fun. I'll be back tomorrow with something different, and thank you for everyone who tuned in to catch some of this live. Shoutouts to Venture Moose, Mr. Drew, and Audio Boy 01 for sounding off in the chat. Until next time, you all have a good night, and I'll see you next stream.